Effective immediately. We will draw down 700 people effective today.
And Tom Homan admitted as much in his first press conference when he called it at 7 o'clock in the morning. And he said, I would not be here if mistakes were not made.
I mean, first wrestling matches, now Fox News. Yeah, it's not been a good week for the president.
The analysis that I'm hearing of, the wild protesters versus law and order just does not sync with reality.
After saying with a full chest, basically no surrender regarding ICE agents in Minnesota, the Trump administration have went ahead and decided to withdraw 700 of those ICE officers, signaling political defeat in Minneapolis.
Pulling back immigration enforcement agents out of Minnesota.
We want to keep our country safe. We'll do whatever we can to keep our country safe.
So, yeah, pulling back?
No, not at all.
Trump's border czar Tom Homan announced that about 700 federal immigration officers, roughly a quarter of those deployed under Operation Metro Surge, will be withdrawn from Minnesota effective immediately. Trump decided to chime in, claiming that he was the one that ordered the withdrawal, therefore contradicting himself, not just his closest officials. You see, Trump's message all along has been pretty straightforward, right? We are restoring law and order, we're protecting communities, and we won't stop. And yet, after weeks of highly public protests after 2 fatal shootings of US citizens by federal agents in Minneapolis, with constant clashes on the streets and sustained local leadership criticism, it has turned Minneapolis from the Trump administration's prized show of force into an utter disaster.
13th, on the way to my 39th appointment at Hennepin County's Traumatic Brain Injury Center, I encountered a traffic jam caused by ICE vehicles and no signs indicating how to get around it. I had not wanted to pull into a blocked, chaotic intersection, but verbally agreed to do so and rolled down my window after an agent yelled, "Move! I will break your effing window!" His first instruction. Agents on all sides of my vehicle yelled conflicting threats and instructions that I could not process while watching for pedestrians. Then the glass of the passenger side window flew across my face. I yelled, "I'm disabled," at the hands grabbing at me, and an agent said, "Too late."
And when the subject was discussed on Fox News The 5, Jessica Tarlov, well, she was on hand to remind her co-hosts that this wasn't out of the good of Trump's heart. This was damage control after he and his officials realized that they effed up and the American people are making themselves heard.
Tom Homan admitted as much in his first press conference when he called it at 7 o'clock in the morning. And he said, I would not be here if mistakes were not made. We will see what happens in the investigations into the 2 officers shot Alex Preddy and Officer Ross, who shot Renee Good. And they might find that there was bad behavior, that they made mistakes, and that it wasn't the protesters' fault for, hurling her car into him or whatever Alex Preddy was doing. But you have to let that play out. You also have to be clear-eyed about the fact that this is clearly partisan for the president. And you look at what happened in Maine. There were surging ICE agents to Maine, and Susan Collins called up DHS Secretary Noem and said, actually, could you get them to leave? And she said, sure, no problem.
Yeah, why, though?
And Susan,
she's running for re-election, and she's
but that's partisan. Amy Klobuchar makes a request, go away. Tim Walz says go away. Mayor Frey says go away. Tina Smith says go away. That doesn't matter to the president because they bat for the wrong team. But because he wants to help Susan Collins and he knows what a loser of an issue this is for the administration, he makes sure to protect her. And that's borne out across the board. Everyone makes fun of you. You want to go to the polling. The new Quinnipiac poll today, absolutely brutal for the administration on this. 63% disapproval of ICE, 58% want Noem out. But you talked about the hearing yesterday where they held up the poster about the scalps that they want. And Tom Homan is the only one on there who I think thus far I don't have a problem with. But they also had testimony from people who have been American citizens who have been victims of this overreach by ICE, like the woman from Chicago, Marimar Martinez, who was shot 5 times. And the DHS, same thing, comes out and says she's a domestic terrorist. She was trying to use her vehicle as a weapon. Turns out that doesn't hold up at all. And they have text messages from the agent after saying, I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys. You have to be honest about those kinds of messages, what you hear on these videos of how these ICE agents are talking about American citizens, whether they shoot them or not. You are when you just say if
I'm
you
being
play
dishonest.
If you say
what am I dishonest about? You have not
said ICE has made mistakes.
Would you not admit?
I mean, this is Trump we're talking about. He once described this as the largest immigration enforcement operation ever, and mass deportations were basically the lifeblood of his entire political strategy. He boasted about it every chance that he could. And this reduction has only happened after political pushback, not some reduction in crime statistics that they would try to claim, which, by the way, as I've pointed out in previous videos, if they went into places based on crime rates, there'd be a lot more ICE deployments in red states. But of course, since they voted for Trump, he sees no point.
Oh, my word. I am a registered Republican. My dad was the president of American Pipeliners Association, so I came by it rather naturally. Voted for the president, supported him, but I really want to apologize. I mean, I'm looking at this awful picture of the Obamas. What an embarrassment to our country. All this man does is tell lies. He is not worthy of the presidency. He takes bribes blatantly, and now he's being a racist blatantly. They were supposed to deport the dangerous criminals. They were not supposed to go after small children, storm schools, bring terror upon, the little kids and the women and children, not just the immigrants in the school. All the children are scared. This is not a decent man. This is not an honest man. He openly takes bribes. He's pathetic as a president, and I just want to apologize to everybody in the country for supporting this rotten man.
John, did you vote for him in all 3 elections?
I did. I was sucked into the stupidity of creating jobs, and there are no more jobs in New Mexico. Things are worse than they were before. You cannot find a primary care physician. Our governor just passed some laws to try to help. If you are a young physician, we want you in New Mexico. Come here. There's a great need for you.
All right.
Local officials and police on the ground have openly condemned the federal presence as hostile and destabilizing, which as a result erupted in nationwide protests, after which the entire city of Minneapolis, they were nominated for a Nobel Prize. Another reason Trump is likely fuming. There is no mistake to be made here. Trump's decision happened under pressure, not by design. It wasn't a planned redeployment. It was a response to public and political pushback.
Looking at Texas, though, I mean, that should scare Republicans. That was the point that Ron DeSantis made in a post. That seat, that state Senate seat, flipped. It was a district that the president won by 17 points, and the Republican had outspent the Democrat there 20-1. And still, the Democrat took that seat. Ron DeSantis wrote, special elections are quirky, not necessarily projectable regarding a general election. That said, a swing of this magnitude is not something that can be dismissed. Republicans should be clear-eyed about the political environment heading into the midterms.
Which shows the power of that, right? And when Fox News viewers are calling your immigration strategy too extreme, and wrestling fans are chanting F ICE, and deep red Texas districts are flipping blue as a result of said immigration policy, he's in deep, deep trouble.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.